Hey, what's up everybody? Michael Crump back here again, and today I wanted to provide some breaking news that just happened in the PlayStation scene. So some of you that watch the channel might have seen this video here where I talk about the best approach of jailbreaking each PlayStation 5 firmware version. What we learned out of this is that for those firmwares that were on 12.60 to 12.70, they had to use one of these expensive Lua games or Star Wars Racer Revenge. Now, what has changed since that is that we've learned with the latest version of YouTube Jailbreak, we can see that now 12.02 all the way up through 12.70 can just take advantage of the YouTube Jailbreak plus the patience to jailbreak in order to get jailbroken. So no longer is any of these disks required for these higher firmware versions. Okay, so heading over to the releases page here, we can see that 1.6 just dropped a couple of hours ago, and in this added support for 12.60 and higher firmwares, added the payload validation to the remote JS loader, and then updated the ELF loader to get that 13.40 support. Now there is two backups that you can select from down below. One of those if you are on 4.03 all the way up through 12.40. Otherwise there is firmware 12.60 and up, and you should take the one that says 12.20. And we can see that right there are both of these zip files if you are going to do a backup. Again, you can obviously just replace your download 0.dat if you would like to. So I have a 12.40 machine that I'd like to try this on. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this version right here. And now while I'm waiting for that to download, I thought that this post over here by Dr. Yin Yin would be worth calling out. So here's what he states. He says, Sony patched YouTube jailbreak in a bad way. Currently, it still works up to the latest firmware by using a different app version. And then he goes on and states, this means we'll get you guys a system backup that will work up to 12.70 to jailbreak. And then 13.40 will be available as a Userland. So Netflix is not going to be an option. I think some folks were going down that path. And then thanks to T-Rex777 for one of the folks that originally nudged them to start digging into this. So what it concludes with here is that until they patch it again, we've got a free Userland up to 13.40, which is so freaking cool. So here is the picture by Gezine, who ran it on a 12.70. Okay, so it looks like my download just finished. So let's go ahead and run this on a PlayStation 5. Now, before we do so, go ahead and grab a USB drive if you're going to do this with me. So in order to get started with this, I just opened up that zip file, and I've got PS5 folder here, and over here I've got my USB drive formatted as exFAT, and I'm just going to drag and drop that, and now we'll go ahead and pop that into my PlayStation 5. Okay, so I am over here on a PlayStation 5 12.40, so let's go into System, Console Information, and right there it is. We are at 12.40. So what I want to do here is I want to go ahead and take the option down here to backup and restore. We're going to go to restore your PS5, and right there it is, Y2JB 1.6 4.03 by Gezine. We are going to hit X on that, and we are going to select restore, and we're going to select next on this next screen. So let's go ahead and get our system rebooted. Okay, our system has come back up now, and by default, it looks like there is a user one. So if we come over here to media, right there is the YouTube application. But before we run it, let's go ahead and go over here to our network. And let me go over here to settings, and we're going to go set up an internet connection. And so right there, you can see it has detected my wired LAN. I'm going to go over here to advanced settings. Right down here, it does have my primary DNS at 127.0.0.2. And you'll just want to make sure that yours looks just like mine. So basically, you would toggle this from automatic to manual. And so now that we have that, I'm going to hit OK and go ahead and connect up. Again, this message is normal. So at this point, let's go ahead and scroll back and let's run the YouTube application. Okay, and there it goes. And there is the remote JS loader, which is waiting on port 50,000. And we can see that YouTube Jailbreak 1.6 and firmware 12.40. And there we can see the app version, which I believe is brand new. And right there, that one's tied to that minimum firmware of 4.03. So from here, we can see a couple of things that is kind of interesting. We can see that it does stay here that disabling PSN dialog and YouTube Splash, as well as YouTube Splash disabled. And then we have PSN pop-up disabled. And then down at the bottom, it is awaiting for a remote connection. So at this point, since I'm on 12.40, let me go ahead and send over the latest version of Patience to Jailbreak. And so if you are looking for that, you can just navigate over to this GitHub repo here. And if you scroll down, you will see patience to jailbreak.js. You want to just go ahead and get that downloaded. Okay, so back over on the PlayStation 5, I have my PS5's IP address here. I've got port 50,000, and then I've got the patience to jailbreak.js. And now I'm going to hit inject payload here. And right there it is. It is starting the process. So as you know, with patience to jailbreak, you do have to wait right around 50 minutes in order to get jailbroken. Okay, so it's been about 50 minutes here, and so we should be able to see the jailbreak happening, and right there it goes. It is starting up. We are on stage 3 all the way through stage 7, and we've got an ELF loader waiting for us on port 9021. So now I'm going to come over here and I am going to download the very latest kstuff-lite 1.07 beta by grabbing this ELF file. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the very latest ShadowMountPlus by downloading this zip file here and extracting the ELF from it. So back over on the PlayStation 5, we're going to change this to 9021. And then we're going to add in the very latest kstuff.elf. And now we will hit inject payload. So if we go back to the main menu here, right there we can see that it is now coming through with welcome to kstuff-lite 1.07. And so now we can go ahead and we can send over the ShadowMountPlus.elf, and I have went ahead and inserted a USB drive with some of my games. So let's go ahead and see how that works. So we'll hit inject payload there. And right there it goes. It says batch install queue. And there is 10 games that it found. And right there they are. They are loading in. We've got Grand Theft Auto, which has now been installed. Okay, and so it looks like it has just about finished installing everything. So here we go. We can go ahead and run this game. And our games are running just as expected. So anyways, very, very, very cool stuff that you're able to do now on just a standard PlayStation 5 and even on these super high firmwares like I've got right over here at 12.40. Anyways, if you got something out of the video, feel free to like it and leave a comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Michael out.